Good afternoon, guys. This is Thursday at WISP America 2017. I've been asking for a few shows now. This is, Eden would be the first to actually respond, looking for participant interviews to see what people think of the show or whatever on the industry. Keep other hobbies out of it. We don't have that much time. But Sweet, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, my name's Eden Recor. I'm a ISP out of Colorado. I'm in the mountains, just over the divide from Boulder and Fort Collins area. I have a ISP that I started back in 1996. Started out as dial-up. 2001, I started playing a little bit with wireless with Alvarian. Didn't have an installer. I finally found a guy that wanted to, as a private contractor, be an installer. That was a very good deal for me. As an installer, he charges me so much, and I charge that to the customer, and it's break even. It's unusual. I've been coming to ISP shows since probably 2005. Started out with other venues, and when WISP formed, I missed the first two shows because I didn't really realize what they were. But I've been coming pretty regularly to both shows. So that's where I stand right now. I've been pretty much a regular attendee.
Sure. I went to myself. I went to several WISPCon shows that Part 15 had put on, and then I believe I went. WISPA had a show in Dallas that was put on by somebody else, but WISPA was working with them, and then then they went into the dual show model in Vegas and elsewhere. And I believe I've made every Vegas show. Only missed a couple of the spring ones, but and I see you at every one.
Yeah, I missed the Vegas show last time because I fell off a ladder. So I warned everybody about being really careful about ladders nowadays. I shattered my elbow, and unfortunately I couldn't attend that week. I was being operated on for shattered elbow.
But, is all well?
It's going well. I've gotten most of my movement back. I haven't gotten all my feeling in my hand back from the nerve that was pulled, but it's just one of those things. As a ISP, I will warn you: do not trust any ladder. Period.
All right.
I've enjoyed this show. It's getting bigger. We're getting more ISPs to join. I enjoy both the vendor part of it and I enjoy the sessions part of it. A lot of times it's hard to go to all the sessions you might like to go to, but I've attended enough shows now that there are certain sessions I don't need to attend anymore. I don't need to know how to do my accounting and all the important things. Anybody that's starting out as a WISP really needs to come to these shows and meet vendors. That's when I was just starting as ISP. I went to ISPCon for the first time. The draw there for me was a car at the end of it, and there weren't very many people there. But I found out rapidly that the show was well worth it. Any show that has all of your real players and vendors is always worth going to, even on a regular basis. So I definitely recommend that to people. I came this time just to see if there was some more accounting systems that maybe do a little bit. I'm not going to give a name, but I chose one that's a Cadillac. And after a while I realized I didn't need the Cadillac and I needed to go back off a little bit, both price-wise and just there's certain functions I need, and to find something that has those functions. I only have 1,000 customers. I didn't really start growing until about 2 years ago when my daughter came to work for me and started doing support, and things took off. Ubiquity has certainly helped things in terms of low-cost CPE and the way their equipment works. This industry is really in for disruption. I really like that.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But all the vendors have brand new things at this time. They usually do every time you go. If you go to the sessions where they talk about what's coming up, they usually tell you what's coming up, which is nice. Many vendors back in the days never told you what was coming up until it was out, sometimes not even then. So But I'm enjoying most of the vendors, and it's amazing the innovation that we're seeing in the radios.
Oh, yes. And, I remember, having to assemble the components for the first several years of the radios that I was using, and then Ubiquiti came along with this nice, easy, form factor. Lacked some of the functionality of the other one, but made up for it in other areas. And that it's just gone far beyond that. In user ability standpoint, working with the product, capabilities of the product, configuration of the product, everything's getting so much better, so much nicer. It's hard to think how it could get better, but someone comes along and does something new, and you're just wondering what the next few years will bring.
Right, and the thing that I found now is the frequencies availability are starting to get a little bit hard. Self-interference seems to be my major problem because I live in a mountainous area, so I tend to point two radios at each other, one to catch the people on this side of the mountain and one to catch them on that side of the mountain, and you start seeing a lot of noise levels. Plus we're seeing a lot of noise levels from other things in the industry. Even the home routers are now so powerful, and Comcast and some of the others are now putting out their routers, which are meant to capture all their customers. So noise level has been a real problem. So I'm coming this time to see, okay, how can I improve with the new radios and everything to get past that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's interesting to talk to people and figure out, what their definitions are for amounts of noise and whatnot. People's experiences in environments vary dramatically. Some people who think that the noise is simply unusable, you go to somebody else and they're like, well, I would give anything to have that.
Right.
And so, that array of environments, help support such an array of products from vendors that have different, targets.
Different ideas, different ways of doing things. The science is changing. That's what's really interesting, is the science is changing so much. When you take a look at our industry 15 years ago, it's not the same. Back then, I bought the Cadillac, which was Alvarian. I took the training, so I understand the RF principles, which is good because it's helped me all the way through, even as I've changed to new vendors with new equipment. But there's always something new and different, and I always tell anybody that's going to be a WISP, whether they're experienced or not, WISP is a place to join. WISP has become more proactive right now. As an owner who's attended a lot of the sessions in the past, I come to find out what's going on with the political process and what's going to happen to us. It can affect me 3 to 6 to 7 years from now, so I can make decisions today on where I want to be. The equipment has actually gotten to the point where it's inexpensive to replace. But as you go on, you want to make sure that if you have 1,000 customers or 5,000 customers, that you want to minimize those truck rolls to update them, because that's the most expensive part of our business.
Sure.
It's the people that have to go out and change things.
Sure. And just to see that most of the vendors, they have a migration path or a backwards compatibility path to help minimize some of those truck rolls.
That's true. Yep. And this time I found it interesting. I was looking, I'm switching over to Mimosa. In some cases it's sort of a nice platform that I've been watching for 4 years actually, when they first talked about it, and it's now sort of coming to fruition. And what antennas I can use and how I'm going to use the equipment.
Sure.
And that for me has been, I spent a whole day studying just before I came here to see, okay, how do these antennas work? Who am I going to use? I discovered the horn antennas from RF Elements. I think I made a decision I'm going to use those initially. Plus, they're inexpensive enough that 2 years down the line, if I want to improve my APs, right at that point, just can swap out some antennas, maybe add a radio, and I can use the newest technology.
Sure.
And I don't have to swap out all the customers. So
that's the important part.
Right.
Okay.
Because I went through that process with my Alvarian gear.
Oh yeah. It's some manufacturers make it difficult to change to even their own things.
Right.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to mention, or?
No, I think pretty well covered it. I just
Okay.
wanted to give you a short view of what I see here, and I think it's a great show. And I look forward to going to Las Vegas too.
I look forward to seeing you there.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.